Welcome to the Collage podcast, and thank you for making us a part of your day. If you enjoy the podcast, please like, rate, and subscribe.
Hey, we want to welcome you to another edition of the Collage podcast. Very good to have y'all here today. As always, we are excited. We have a guest with us today. So it's not really a guest to me because I've known Damon for a while here. He works up here at Feed My Sheep. And before we get to meet Damon, let me explain again. So we are recording out of Little Place, Temple, Texas, is where we're out of. Not that that matters anything. And we're in a little place called Feed My Sheep. And Damon is up here, and he works Monday through Friday up here. So that's how we've known him. Been for, a year, two. And we've been here, golly, time goes quick. Okay, so we will get into that. I just had the old man moment there. I'm like, golly, 2 years.
Yeah, that's a long time.
That's a long time. So, with no more of that, we're going to get in. I'm intrigued by this, what we're going to discuss today. I don't even know what we're going to discuss. So, Damon, okay, tell us a little bit about you. Introduce yourself to the world so they know you.
Well, I work for a business or a nonprofit called Central County Services, which is a local mental health authority for the area, and we're office out of Feed My Sheep. I've been working for them for 14 years. Volunteered with them for 10 years before then.
Been involved with them for 24 years?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Got it.
I'm a person who has a chronic disability. It has to do with mental health. I don't let that define me, but it is a factor in my life. I don't know. That's about it for now.
Okay. So we'll backtrack just a hair. Where were you born?
I was born in Denton, actually.
Okay.
Denton, Texas. I'm a sixth-generation Texan.
Okay.
We date back to the founding of the Republic and also to the German immigration that happened right after that.
Okay. And then how long have you lived in Temple?
I've lived in Belton.
Oh, okay, Belton.
I live in Belton. Okay. Yeah, I'm in Belton.
Oh, Nelly. That's going to be a problem.
Yeah, it's always a problem. There's always a little bit of rivalry.
Okay. So you grew up in Belton, Texas.
I grew up in Belton, Texas. Yeah, I'm actually what some people call a lake dweller because I live out by the lake.
Oh, do you really?
Yeah, I live out, I live out in an area called Westcliff.
I know where Westcliff is.
Yeah.
Very good hybrid fishing there in the fall.
Yeah,
so
wonderful.
Westcliff 1 and 2.
Yeah, it's some good-sized bass there.
Yes.
Yeah.
Right off so I know that area well. So you grew up in the Westcliff area.
Yeah. And I went to Belton. I went to actually a school. When I went to elementary, I went to a school called Tyler Elementary. And it was an old school. It started out as the all-around school for Belton, and it was the first all-around school. It was a 2-story school with a little fire escape slide.
Okay.
It's off of Main Street. It was.
Okay.
And the monument for it is still there. It was built in 1882.
Really?
Yeah, and I was the last class to graduate from that elementary.
Okay.
Before they decommissioned it. So it was, I don't know, I consider that significant to some extent.
Oh, agreed. Yeah. For sure.
In my childhood, because I actually dealt with mental health since I was 5.
What does that mean? Tell me when you're saying that I've dealt with mental health.
I've had my doctor thinks I've been psychotic actually, or schizophrenic since I was 5.
Okay. So this is a component in your life.
It's a very big factor in my life.
Like you work in the mental health field, but you also experience
mental illness
as well. Okay. So got it. So like that, you think that you have struggled with this since you were 5 years old.
Yeah. And, makes you very different from other children.
Okay.
Let's put it that way.
Tell me about that. So tell me, what was our struggle as a child? Like, I remember.
I was not popular, of course.
Okay.
I had off and on friends, is what I would call it.
Okay.
I didn't have any long-term friends really until much later in life. Um, I got bullied a lot,
Okay.
a whole lot.
Okay.
Nowadays you could not get in as many fights as I did in school,
Well, okay.
and actually stay in school.
Right.
I never started any of my fights. I just getting picked on, and I was not the type to stand there and take it. At least not after a while.
Okay.
I guess I stuck up for myself, and my friends used the people who knew me best called me the toughest nerd in Bell County.
Okay. Okay. So then, we're going to rewind just a bit.
Yeah.
Okay. Not rewind, but I find it interesting. And I will say Bobby, because he has to listen to all these. Okay. It is intriguing to me. Almost everybody who comes on here, almost everybody, if they say, hey, tell me about your childhood, if they have a significant memory of the childhood, some will be, nothing. Like if you said, okay, almost every single one, if you listen to the different people, they will always say, when I was 5.
Really?
Always.
I think just because memories really start developing about that.
Agreed. It intrigued me to no end. Okay, so like I was like that. We met with this one, and yes, when I was 5, so-and-so, my parents started abusing me. When I was 5, this happened. When I was 5, this happened. When I was 5, okay, and here. And
I have some very vague memories from when I was 3 and 4, but most of my core memories start when I was 5. Yeah.
done to me. I couldn't even tell you any memory. I don't even know anything as a child. I don't think.
No, not especially not as an infant or anything.
Yeah, so I don't know. And I mean, remember first grade. I remember when my parents got divorced. But okay,
Yeah.
so we're now to your childhood.
Yeah.
And so tell me how did you realize at 5, like your recognition looking back that maybe
well, you don't, okay. I unlike, some people, I have pretty good self-awareness. I like to think so.
Okay.
So I thought, because I think I'm a Martian, or I think I'm here to save the world or something like that. I really did. I thought I was like the Messiah. I had a Messiah complex from back then. But at the same time, I also was telling myself,
Wait, tell me what that means.
Messiah complex means I'm like here. I would be like the Messiah. I would be here to save the world from itself.
Okay, so you knew truth that nobody else was aware of.
Yeah, at the same time, I was aware that truth in my head was not kosher. Does that make sense?
Okay, tell me what that means.
Well, I just because I knew these truths, I knew I shouldn't share them.
Okay, got it.
Because
okay.
I knew. I read people pretty well.
Okay.
And you say certain things, and people give you a look.
Okay, fair.
And I say, well, maybe that's not for sharing.
Okay.
I did that a lot. I
okay.
kept I spent a lot of time white knuckling my self.
What does that mean?
Well, white knuckling is like, when you ball up your fists and just clench them together to restrain yourself.
Okay.
So I spent a lot of time restraining my emotions and my thoughts over my life.
That seems difficult.
Yeah, I spent a lot of time as a chameleon, actually.
Okay.
So
now, what does that mean?
That means I tried to blend in with whatever crowd I was in.
But you knew you weren't that crowd.
Yeah, I was always
okay. So like,
I never felt a part of anything.
That's right. So a chameleon has an unbelievable ability to blend in with its surroundings.
Right.
But when it's on a brown tree, it has a cognizant awareness to realize I'm really not the tree. And pretty soon, the predators that's out to see me is going to notice I'm not the tree, and then I'm in danger.
Right.
It's a very stressful and difficult way to live.
Yeah, it was very difficult. And I lived that way most of my life. And I had a couple of predators find me over my life. Not just abuse, not just physical abuse, but other things too.
Okay.
I don't really go into that.
No. Okay, fair.
Yeah. But I've had some, less than good things happen to me in my life. Yes.
Why do people pray? Like if you were looking back at you, okay, because you said you got bullied a whole lot and you got picked on you a whole lot. And then now you've said that some of the predators that were out to hunt for you found you. And why were you think they were they looking for you more than others?
I think because sometimes when you're not a part of the herd, I guess
Okay.
we were talking about the
Animal
herds and animals. When you are separated from the herd, certain predators find it easier to prey on you.
You are the easiest prey.
Right. And even though I was a chameleon at the same time, I was not directly a part of anything. Therefore, I was easier to single out.
Okay, agreed. So like in it, biologically, like if you look at, animals that are slightly different, and we're not saying slightly different is not a negative term.
No, it's not. It's different.
It's just slightly different. Okay. So a white-tailed deer,
Mm-hmm.
a one that is slightly different color than the rest of them,
May not blend in with its surroundings.
does not blend in, and it gets picked out the quickest. Like if a predator looks at a herd of an impalas, and there's 5,000 impalas, and one of them happens to have a little bit of a black patch, I guarantee it, every one of them's eyes is going to focus on that one.
Bullseye.
That's right. School of fish, all the fish want to be all the schools function and
as schools, as a whole together.
That's all together. And so then the idea is that we're all safe because they can't really pick one of us out and you don't have focus.
Right.
But one of the fish that swims slightly different than the rest,
Yep.
guess what? You pick him out of the school.
It creates a turbulence in the whole thing.
That's it. Okay. So what about that? Like, I'm interested on that because I was a youth minister for a long time. So I've watched kids intrigue me to no end. Adults, we learn how to sort of handle our differences a little bit, or we're more aware. But like at junior high,
very, very not cruel per se,
horrifically cruel.
Well, I call it brutal.
Yes,
brutal is a better word.
Yeah,
brutal is not intentionally cruel.
You're nicer than me. I would say, I've watched junior high kids, junior high boys. Okay, and girl. But I watch junior high guys that are they're unsure about their own self, okay, at that juncture in life. And as I would say, men don't grow out of that at all. That's still part of what men are about. But they pick that one out that is a little bit different, and they incessantly go cruelly after them.
That is, I find a lot of people do that. And actually, a friend of mine taught me this. He was older than me. He was a good guy. His name was Dennis. And he told me, most of the time those people are either feeling so small that they're trying to bring themselves up to your level, or they feel that you're so big that they're trying to bring you down to theirs.
Well, agreed. But in that, and that's true. Like, that's 100%. Anybody who's doing that behavior, if you're hearing this, it is 100% wrong. We are not saying it is acceptable at all to prey upon other people and to do anything like that. Not at all.
No.
I am more going to the place of looking at that young person who is the victim of getting on that. It's all right to be an adult now looking back on that and to go, I have clarity of but to be that young person that you go to school and you're like,
yeah. I never got a swirly, believe it or not, but that's because anytime anybody ever tried to give me a swirly or something, the swirly.
Yeah, you dump your head in the toilet and you flush it.
The reason I didn't, that's what I talked about getting in fights a lot, is because I was not getting that swirly.
Right. So out of it, sounds like to me, you learned at an early age, okay, that I have to control things inside of me that I really don't know how to control.
Yeah.
Okay. I am different than everybody else, and my brain works differently, and I don't yet know how to handle that.
Right.
And I've got to fight.
Right.
That's tough.
Yeah, it was not easy. I spent most of my childhood like that. I did. There were good points and bad points. I did finally, by the time I was 15, start making actual friends.
Okay.
Yeah.
How did that occur?
The stoners took me in.
Okay. Fair. Okay. So It's ready. I without fail.
Yeah.
Okay.
I've never done drugs
Okay.
in my life. It's not my thing. I will actually, I'd smoked weed once in my life. I won't deny that. But that otherwise,
You and President Clinton, didn't that what he do? Like,
yeah. Oh, I didn't inhale. I didn't inhale. That seems a bit. Yeah, never mind. But yeah, I did smoke weed once in my life, and actually, what happened is I was taking medicine at the time, and it caused my medicine to cancel out, and it was a horrible experience.
Right.
It was a really horrible experience.
What it was interesting on that is I could have bet money, like watching youth stuff.
Mhm.
So we've got one of my old youth comes to the line. Some had struggles with mental health. You could see it at an early age, and in junior high, this is a fact. And we'll come back. His 6th grade year, I will never. It was at Belton.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, I won't say who it is or what.
Yeah.
His whole entire 6th grade year, this is truth, okay? Whole entire 6th grade year, he was spoken to not one single time at school. Nobody spoke to him at all. He didn't get picked on in the way you did.
Right.
Nobody spoke to him. He had nobody came and visited.
I can relate to that to some extent. It was more of my 7th grade year that I got ignored.
Okay.
My 8th grade year, I got ignored. 8th grade year, I got ignored a lot.
8th grade year, tell me about that.
I was at Belton Junior High at the time, and this went back in Belton Junior High was just the only junior high in the whole town. I lost some acquaintances of mine to moving, and my behavior became erratic for a while, so just nobody wanted to deal with me.
That's right.
Actually, teachers didn't want to deal with me.
Well, agreed. This young man that was the teachers, well, he was not easy to deal with.
Right.
Okay, because his behavior was not normal,
Right.
say. Nobody wanted to be around him, and he was he was not even fun to pick on anymore because he was, okay,
Yeah.
whole year of that. And then guess what happened to him? And so his 9th grade year,
Mm-hmm.
okay, 15, guess what? He found a friend group to fit in. And so if you were going to guess what friend group took him in?
The stoners, probably.
That's right. Okay.
Stoners tend to be a bit outcasts themselves.
That's right. Because so then they get taken in, and he did not have the luxury of not partaking into the activities.
Right.
He wanted to fit in. He had friends. He had people that spoke to him. He had places to go. He had interactions with other human beings. Oh, yeah, I'm going to have a drug addiction come along with it. But hey, that's worth the cost, because I got friends. I got places got belonging.
Yeah.
And people that, okay, that's sarcasm. The drug addiction he still carries with him today.
Yeah, unfortunately, that's a hard thing, and it's a really difficult thing. But, strangely enough, in Belton High School, in my class, the stoners were probably the least of the continuous drug addicts.
Okay, fair. Tell me, what does that mean?
Well, it was alcohol and drug use was actually pretty rampant.
Yeah.
In my year, in the football team.
Oh yeah.
In the nerds even, and even in the kickers, what we called them, or the Cowboys.
Yes, that's right.
We've lost a lot of people in my class actually to drug addiction. Sometimes to prison, sometimes to death, and I don't understand. Personally, it just doesn't really register with me why, but it just seemed very prevalent in my year.
Okay, so interesting. Like this discussion is on. So we're now in high. We hang out with that group, and we may go into addiction and such like that, but like the mental health side of it. So we finish Belton High School. So then what did we do?
Well, actually, when I was 16, I wanted to go into that. I saw my psychiatrist for the first time.
Okay, so you started getting professional help at 16.
Yeah. I had been seeing therapists over the years, and that was hit and miss.
Okay.
I saw a psychiatrist, and she was really good. Her name was Gail Eisenhower, and she was a really good psychiatrist.
Okay.
And she's the one that told me I'd probably had well, first of all, she said you have a mental health disorder.
Okay.
And I was actually, unlike most people, I was grateful.
Really?
Yeah. because I had something I could put a pin in.
So 16 was the first time
Somebody gave me a label,
Okay.
I guess you could say.
That's right. That they're going, hey, you know what?
But that label highlighted a lot of what was going on in my life that I didn't understand.
Okay. Really? So 16, you get diagnosed with
and she diagnosed me initially, she said, with major depression with psychotic features.
Major depression with
Psychotic features.
What does that mean?
Means you're really, really, really sad or angry a lot of the time, and you have some unusual thinking.
Okay. Interesting. So that, and then out of that, and you said that was sort of
that was a relief for me. For oddly enough, it's like I said, now I had something I could have put a pin in.
Okay.
So you got this board of this collage of everything that's gone on in your life, and you have something you can connect all those different threads with now.
Okay. Interesting.
And now that and it was also in the initial road to my recovery for a while.
Okay.
For a time being.
So then, well, we're going to have, because that word "time being" is intriguing to me.
Yes.
Okay. So we're going to definitely come to that one.
Yeah.
But so you were cognizant to go, man, I got, like, before 16, you're looking at all these different pieces that
trying to put it together. Yeah.
And you're going, I know these are me.
Yeah.
Because they're me. And then you're trying to figure out, how do these things?
Yeah, it gave me not in a necessarily bad way like it does with a lot of people, because I didn't take it negatively. I just said, now I can work with something.
Okay. So then your road to health, tell me what that started looking like.
Well, I started taking what was known as Haldol and Prozac. Prozac was a brand new medicine at that time. It was the very first antidepressant of its kind.
Okay.
They were called SSRIs.
Okay.
Which stands for selective serotonin reuptake inhibitor. I know that's a mouthful.
Okay.
But and Haldol is an antipsychotic.
Okay.
So it dealt with the psychotic features. And she also told me, by the way, which was a really insightful thing for a doctor to tell you, this diagnosis is not permanent. It will change over your life.
Really?
Yeah, she was realistic enough to tell me that I would not be that depending on who I met and how my life was going at the time, my diagnosis would change.
What does that mean?
Well, I've had 7 different diagnoses in my life. It's mental health diagnosis.
Okay, really?
Yeah.
Okay, so that is absolutely, golly, what I was ignorant. I did not realize that fact.
Yeah.
Okay.
And believe it or not, the diagnosis I have now, which is called schizoaffective disorder bipolar type, which is basically being schizophrenic and bipolar at the same time.
Schizophrenic and bipolar at the same time?
Yeah, it's basically like...
Okay.
It's not, the psychosis is considered more prominent than the mood. Bipolar being the mood and schizophrenia being the psychosis.
Okay. And that's currently the chapter you're in right at the moment.
Right. I deal with that. I take medicine and I do a lot of coping skills. I have a lot of coping skills that I use because, but anyway, going back, so you told me I would have multiple diagnoses. In order to have this diagnosis that I have now, you have to have been diagnosed with 5 different mental health disorders before you can even get to it. That's in the DSM.
In the playbook.
In the playbook. It's actually in the playbook. It says you have to have 5 different diagnoses before we can actually give you this diagnosis.
What in the world? Okay, interesting. So, okay, we're gonna definitely keep down this road. So you get diagnosed with this first. You're on medicine, and it helped because I
got a job. I became a janitor at Scott and White. Actually, I started out as a janitor at the 3 Corps headquarters building at Fort Hood.
Oh, okay.
That big.
Yeah.
It's a nice building and everything like that. And so I worked there for a year, and I went to school and then my dad died.
Your dad died.
Yeah.
At an early, I mean,
He was a very early age. He was not young when I was born, though. He was 42 when I was born.
Okay.
But he was 60, 60, let's see, I was 19, so he was 61 when he passed away. He was 61 when he passed away. That's still a young age.
So you are working, you're getting, and your dad passes away.
Yeah, and I had told you before we started this, my
That's right.
dad had gotten into some Ponzi schemes and pyramid schemes in his life, and he caused some debt in our family. So I had, at the time, not been living at home. I had been living on my own.
Mm-hmm.
But after he died, I moved back home to help my mom get us out of this rut.
To help with income, to help your mother.
Yeah. In brief, I've only lived away from my house for 6 months in my life, unless you want to count my hospitalizations.
Man, I'm telling you, your conversation is absolutely intriguing to me. So you have stayed, like, your home setting.
Yeah,
6 months.
the home in Belton. I have lived there since 1979.
Golly. Okay. And still live there now.
Yeah,
Okay. So dad dies.
yeah. I
Difficult.
helped my mom dig out of the rut.
That's a whole lot for you.
There was a lot.
That's a lot for you.
Yeah. So I had to drop out of college at the time. But I still worked.
Okay.
I just worked more, and then did less college. Did no college. So I dropped out of college, and I started working for Scott and White at that time.
Okay.
I started out as a janitor. Then I became waste management. It's just slightly higher,
Okay.
and I became a biohazard specialist for a while.
Oh, I don't even want to know.
It's not as dirty as it sounds because you don't have to look at the stuff most of the time.
Oh,
It's just, you deal with, but you do have to learn how to work an autoclave and an incinerator, and you have to wear special gear and stuff like that.
okay.
Yeah.
So then you're working at Scott and White, and taking care of trying to pay back bills for,
Yeah.
and you've lost your dad.
Yeah, and so my entire life, my entire adult life, I may have lived at home, but I paid rent the whole time.
To help out.
Yeah.
Okay.
I always tried to pay my way. That was ingrained in me. My mom told me, you can live here, even before I moved out. You can live here, but you have to go to school and you have to work.
Okay.
That was ingrained in me from early life. There were exceptions to that rule. Just like she also said to me, you get one get out of jail free card.
Okay.
In other words, she would, which I never, I got arrested once, but that was the police dropped the charges and everything like that. I'm not going to get in that one.
Okay. Fair enough.
It was a interesting incident, but it was actually right after I'd got diagnosed. But so you only get one get out of jail free card, and you have to earn your way.
Okay.
That was ingrained in me from very early on. My mom was an accountant, and she always handled the family finances, so she was very responsible and very fiscal.
Okay.
My dad's irresponsibility was in his back in the 80s in Belton. A man could commandeer a woman's bank account quicker than lightning.
Okay. And so he got y'all in
plenty of trouble multiple times against her will.
Okay.
Even though she was normally in charge of the finances.
So let me ask you, for your family, so we're talking to just your perception. Let's just your mother. How did she handle or deal with the fact that you had mental illness difficulties?
She handled it very rationally. I mean, she'd been reading Psychology Today since I was 14, before I was even seeing a doctor.
To try to figure out?
Trying to figure out how to best to help her son.
Okay.
She saw something also.
Okay.
She was very perceptive. She didn't ignore these things. And,
they're working on the wall.
Oh, okay. Anyway, so she she was insightful. She handled me as well as she could, all things considered. And I worked, like I said, and by the time I started working and everything like that, that was good. Things started to, about 5 years into working at Scott and White, or no, 6 years into working at Scott and White, things started to fall apart though. My illness, my medication stopped working properly.
Okay. Why is that? I don't know. So
Mental health meds are like, for lack of a better term, they are a mind-altering substance.
okay,
They're just a positive mind-altering substance,
right.
rather than a dangerous mind-altering substance. Although they do have their drawbacks, I won't deny it.
Right.
So when your medicine stops working, your mind starts doing things and telling you things, and your behavior changes based on what your mind starts telling you.
Okay.
So I lost my job at Scott and White due to unforeseen. My symptoms made me more aggressive, and made me perceive things differently. So I got in a confrontation with my boss.
Okay.
I did nothing physical,
Right.
but that incident led to me being fired eventually.
That's right.
He was a good boss. He really was. He was a good guy. He was patient. He tried, but there was just nothing he could do.
Yeah.
It was, if you couldn't handle me, then you couldn't handle
But
me.
what's interesting to me, and like this, like you just said, mind altering, and we have these drugs that can okay. What is always intriguing to me is like you,
Mm-hmm.
I sit here, I believe you are here. Why? Because I can see you.
Right.
Okay. I believe you are here because my mind says, oh, I touched you.
Right.
And I believe you are here because my mind says, oh, I can hear and we're interjecting in a conversation here.
Right.
This thing up here is the only thing that's really confirming what I believe, which is you're here.
Right. And despite all the abuse and everything I had as a kid, I actually was a very arrogant young adult for a long time.
What does that mean?
I was full of myself.
Okay.
I guess all.
Well, if you had massage,
I guess all.
like,
20, yeah.
okay.
I guess, but all 22-year-olds are a little full of themselves.
Well, they know 22. You know everything.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like you had it all. Okay.
Throw in a messiah complex and grandiose delusions with that,
Okay.
and imagine what I was like.
Well, so at 22, so you're pretty like in your illness. Tell me if this is accurate. You are pretty sure you know the answer.
Because the medicine was not always working all the time.
Okay.
The medicine only does so much. The rest is up to you.
Okay.
I describe medicine as a foundation that I build my recovery on.
Okay. Nice. Okay. It
There's
is not
a whole other structure that you got to complete, though.
okay, but you got to have a strong foundation to build upon.
You have to have a strong foundation,
Okay.
and luckily, my medicine works well for me.
But it changes
Over time.
over time.
Yeah, I've lost track of time of how many medications actually made me worse, how many medications didn't work at all, and how many medications wore off. I've lost track. I really have.
And then,
I've been on. I've never not been on an antipsychotic in my life, and I've been on up to probably 8 or 9 different antipsychotics.
and then out, like, so if I'm understanding correctly, so then you would get prescribed a medicine. Hey, Damon, I'm doctor, blah, blah, blah. And
right.
I think this is going to work great for you.
Mm-hmm.
Here's your medicine. Good luck. I'll talk to you in 2 months and let me know how this is working. Then you're supposed to go, and let's pretend like when you say it doesn't work, what does that mean?
Makes it worse.
Okay, let's say it makes it worse. What does that mean to Damon?
That's hell. That's hell, and no offense.
No, you're not going to offend me, but
That's my own personal hell.
Tell me what that is. Like when it's not working.
Your mind abuses you. In my case,
Okay.
my mind tells me I literally have hallucination. I would have hallucinations. I have delusions. I don't just have auditory and visual hallucinations, though. I have what's called tactile hallucinations.
Okay, tell me what that.
Imagine bugs crawling up your legs all the freaking time.
You wouldn't. feel with 100% certainty when you were not well, like I'm just,
spiders or ants are crawling up and down my legs.
then you would feel this and you would know it's occurring.
Yeah.
And then what other, like, so then,
Oh, I'll be swatting my legs sometimes. It's so convincing.
okay,
And then the voices are hostile usually.
the voices are hostile.
Yeah, they're not really good. They're not really good.
Okay.
There rarely are, and sometimes they would escalate to where I was hearing this deafening sound of like cicadas. You know, you got West Texas where the
yes,
cicadas are really loud.
uh-huh.
Imagine tripling that.
Okay, and you can hear this with complete certainty.
Yeah.
And then you're hearing voices that are telling you negative things. They're not uplifting, like,
Yeah.
woohoo, Damon is good.
No.
No.
The voices, okay. And I had to learn to address my voices, actually, is what it did. There's an organization, this before I learned about, I learned about this afterwards, but there's an organization now that actually tells people how to address their voices. It's called the Hearing Voices Network. It started out of the UK.
Okay.
And it's in America too, but, and it teaches people to relate to their voices in such a way that they can cope with them better. And in my case, I got my resolution actually came to the point where I don't hardly hear voices.
Okay. But when you heard voices, a recognizable voice, like, I mean,
Yeah.
I have a certain voice.
Yeah,
Like
yeah.
you go, oh, this is,
It would be like hearing you, Jeff.
that's right. Well, I could, yeah, that would be, whew.
It wouldn't be your voice,
No,
but I mean,
but it was a
real.
recognizable
Yeah.
over, oh,
Mm-hmm.
I recognize this voice, and this is this male, female, like human
Multiple.
voices
Sometimes it was 3 or 4 or 5 voices at a time.
that you hear.
Yeah, and they were very distinct, but they were also at the same time indistinguishable because there were so many of them.
And yelling negative stuff to
Yeah.
Damon. Okay. And then you are supposed to be,
Sometimes the voices would even coincide with my delusions. Is why haven't you done these things yet?
what things?
Save the world.
Okay. So we're still struggling with that.
Yeah.
That you are certain the world at this not healthy. The world
Right.
is coming to an end, and you are the one tasked with saving it.
Yeah.
And so then all these lives are dependent on.
Yeah, and I not only are the voices questioning me, but I'm questioning why have I not achieved my goal?
Which was to save the world.
Yeah.
Okay. Holy moly. Like, I'm not saying holy moly I'm saying holy moly, that's a whole
It's a lot of weight to carry.
a whole lot of weight. Whole lot of weight. And then, like, let me just, so I have an understanding, like, would it be okay, I've got 30 seconds and these voices are going to yell, but that's it for the day? Or is this
No, it's constant.
constant?
Yeah, there's actually a YouTube video by a woman named Pat Deacon. She talks about that a lot. She was on Anderson Cooper one time.
Okay.
She has a simulator of telling that lets you actually, and it's basically just a Walkman type concept, or an iPod.
Yeah.
But it tells you it has those voices muttering and talking to you, not my voices per se, but like anybody else would.
But what it would feel like.
But it would feel like, and you have to go throughout the day like that.
And function.
Mm-hmm.
What in the world? Okay.
In other words, buy your coffee, have a conversation with the coffee guy while you're paying for your coffee, while you're hearing these voices all the time.
And then having to discern, hey, this one with Jeff is really occurring. These are not occurring.
Yeah.
And then to go, and then have this and be.
And then it has things sometimes come out the side of the corner of your eye. And but my most of my hallucinations were like peripheral. So I had to be looking to see what the heck was going on to nothing. It'd be like a shadow in the eyes.
But then you would think you saw a person.
Yeah, or something. Yeah.
Okay.
Or a car or anything. And it catch my attention and I'd look.
Uh-huh.
And
fair.
That's odd behavior if you're not, if nobody else is seeing what you're seeing.
It's so perplexing to me because everything that I am seeing right now, I am sure everybody else is seeing it the exact same way I'm seeing it.
I was aware that I was not seeing what everybody else was seeing.
Okay.
I was aware, which
How?
in its own. I don't know. A lot of people aren't aware of this.
I agree. Yeah, I'm saying it seems
Yeah,
a gift that you were aware of. No, everybody
it's
does.
not always. It's a gift and a curse at the same.
Oh, agreed. Yeah. But to understand that, you know what, Jeff's not seeing the same thing that I'm seeing, and he's not here when this juncture, or nobody else is hearing the same words. And it's intriguing to me that it's the same voices over and over and over, and always never positive, always negative,
Never positive. Yeah,
always, and what you were doing wrong. And
yeah. It was always pointing out what, but at the same time, I don't know why, but in the long run, it made me a better person.
okay.
It humbled me, and that was a good thing.
Okay. So then we're not going to, we could stay on this because it is intriguing to me, like this discussion of reality and such like that. So, but let's move. Okay. So then, because
I finally did get much better. I had to be on Social Security for a long time though. I had to get on Social Security, which was another, for me at the time, I thought it was humiliating.
Oh, Social Security disability.
Yeah, I was on disability.
Okay, got it.
I was on SSDI. You know, I worked long enough that I could get on Social Security, not on SSI.
Okay.
I made enough money and all that. So I got on Social Security disability, and I lived my life that way for a while. And actually, when I lived my life on disability for a long time, even when I was getting better. I was not quite better enough, I guess you could say.
Okay.
But I did volunteer for Central Counties for 10 years.
Okay. So then
during the time I was better.
In the process, so then you're on disability, you're working on your own, and then you decided you wanted to help in the mental health field.
Yeah. Well, what was going on is we had this thing called psychosocial rehab.
Okay.
Back in the day, which is a group program based on having groups of individuals with mental health disorders have day programs, is what they were.
Okay.
They were not the most positive thing all the time, but they were not bad either. They were kind of par for the course, I guess you could say.
Okay.
You know, par is even.
Yeah.
It's not great, but it's not bad.
Okay. It's not a bogey. So
it's not a bogey.
Yeah. Okay. So fair enough, but you're still on the course. So we're doing that, and so then you're now volunteering with CCS, and
and by the way, I had mentioned I for about 4 years I'd spent 9 months I would spend 9 months out of the year in Ash for about a 4-year period.
Wait.
So,
what is Ash?
Austin State Hospital.
Wait, okay, so
hospital for the area.
Hold on. So back up.
I was institutionalized for a long time.
So tell me that sentence again, what you just said. You said for 4 years, you would spend 9 months out of the year.
Out of the year in Austin State Hospital, or I would be institutionalized.
And you were how old at this chapter of your life?
I was 24 to 27.
24 to 27.
28, actually.
Okay, yeah. Voluntarily?
Not always.
Okay. Fair. Okay. Yeah.
Most of the time, yes, because I just wanted to get rid of what was going on with me.
Okay.
And I thought, but at the same time, I also had a doctor tell me about my psychosis. You will never become a functioning member of society again.
You had a what?
He told me with all the compassion in his heart that I would never be a functioning member of society again.
Okay. So a mental health doctor.
A psychiatrist.
A psychiatrist in this area?
In Ash.
Oh, okay, Ash. Because the reason, like what's interesting to me is we're tiptoeing in it is we won't go there, but my stepdad, my upbringing, we're about the same age.
Yeah.
Okay. My stepdad and all of his friends, so he was a psychologist and worked with all the psychiatrists here at Scott and White and all the different hospitals and inmates. So I'm like, man, I keep waiting for the next second and you're going to say, and I was seeing Dr. So-and-so, and I'm like,
I'm not going to tell you my doctors.
No, okay. So
I'm going to tell you my doctors.
A doctor in mental health said, hey, guess what, Damon? Got some good news for you. You're never going to be a functioning member of society again.
And he said it, he really did. He said it with all the compassion in his heart. So that's how I knew he believed it. He said it heartfelt,
Why would
in a heartfelt manner.
Why would you not be able to be a functioning?
Because people with a severe mental illness were not supposed to be functional at the time.
Okay.
That was in 1996.
Not that long ago.
Yeah.
Well, we're old. Golly,
We're not old, we're not young.
I wouldn't count that as that long ago.
No, it's not that long ago. It's not. I don't deny. It's almost 30 years ago.
Golly, you're right. We're old. Okay.
Yeah.
It is a long time
ago.
ago.
It was 29 years ago.
Oh, my.
Was a person with severe psychosis could not recover.
Can I ask the sentence? Do you remember what does it feel like to hear that?
Yeah, it made me give up for a while. That's probably one of the reasons I spent all that time in Ash.
How could it not?
Yeah, I did. I gave up for a while. And you know what? I basically, by the time I was 28, I was saying I'm sick and tired of this. So I'm sick and tired. I'm fed up. I'm fed the freaking A up.
Oh, yeah. Uh-huh.
And I said, and I walked out of that hospital that one time, and I said, I'm not coming back here. I made that decision.
Okay.
I did come back. I won't deny. 2 years later, I did a 1 month visit, and another year later, I did another 1 month visit, and that was all though.
Okay.
And so it says spending 3 months on and a month off, and 3 months on and a month off on a constant basis. So I only did those 2 visits that time. That time.
Okay.
So I made a concerted effort to work on myself.
Okay.
And not let others work on me.
Agreed. Interesting. Say that sentence again.
I made a concerted effort to work on myself and not let others work on me.
Interesting.
I'm sure the power of prayer is a good thing, I will say. But universal faith in God without working on yourself is not a good thing.
Tell me about that.
I've dealt with...
Man, you got some big sentences. God.
Sorry.
No, bring it.
I've met a lot of people who think that if they just have faith, their life will be better.
And faith alone. That's
right. They need to make no effort in themselves on their part.
Okay.
I'm not a highly religious person,
but
I do believe in the concept that God helps those who help themselves.
Okay.
In other words, you need to make a concerted effort in your life and show that you are a part of your life in order for your life to be better.
Yeah. You are an active participant in your own life.
And I am a walking, talking realization of that, in my opinion, because when I started working on myself, I started getting better. When I was expecting others to fix me, I never got better.
Okay. Interesting. So, and I would agree.
Yeah. Now, by that time, after that time, you see, I was a really good patient at that time because I always listened to what everybody had to say and had to tell me.
Okay.
When I started taking an active role in my own recovery, I was not considered a good patient anymore.
What does that mean?
I argued with my doctors. I argued with my therapist.
Okay.
I said, I stood up for myself partly. Okay. I said, this medication is not working right. I want something different. Or I would say, this is not how it's supposed to be going. I would actually say these things. Uh-huh. And that is in a program at the time.
Okay.
There was no such thing as what's called shared decision-making.
Okay.
Shared decision-making is a philosophy that the doctor or the therapist is an advisor and you are the best analyst of your life. That didn't exist back then.
What?
No, as a medical practice, shared decision-making is a brand new concept. It's only about 12, 15 years old.
And we function in the mental health, we would function under that umbrella now?
Yeah.
Yes.
Now. 15 years ago, though, it was not there.
Okay.
It was just being introduced 15 years ago.
So by you saying, no, this doesn't make me feel...
Whenever I would say, you're wrong, they would say, I can't be wrong. I'm the doctor.
Yeah. We now know, I'm sorry to tell all the medical professionals out there, they can be wrong.
Everybody can be wrong.
Everybody can be
We're
wrong.
all
That's
human.
not a negative statement on
Yeah.
doctors or mental health.
So I was a difficult patient. I was
Okay.
called a difficult patient at the time. I was getting better, but I was a difficult patient.
Okay. So let me ask then, so that we're now peer support. This is what you do every
Mhm.
day. You are now working with Damons
Yeah.
every day.
Mm-hmm.
Like, so the people that we deal with here, well, I think it is an absolute gift what you do now. That, I mean, if I go talk to Damon and tell him, here's how you should feel and here's how life should be, I am going to miss the mark 1,000% because
You're not the expert on my life.
I don't understand.
Right.
Like, even there's components of it even here. I'm just sitting here going, I'll give you credit. I am just stunned. I'm going, I can't even imagine trying to function in this. I hear voices, mine whisper. Like, so I can hear them, but it's like other conversations that are going on at the same time.
Like I said, I don't hear voices anymore.
Okay.
Thank goodness. I still have tactile hallucinations.
Tactile means what?
That's the feeling.
The feeling.
The crawling on your skin.
Okay, got it.
I still have those on occasion.
And are they triggered by something, or they
Usually idleness.
idleness?
Yeah, if I'm laying in bed or I'm just sitting for a long time, and not doing anything, then that's when I start feeling the crawling.
That would well, I was going to say something really dumb. I said that would drive me crazy. That would be
That does drive me crazy.
I was going, man.
That's quite all right. I understand what you mean.
But golly, that would absolutely flip me out.
It doesn't do it all the time now, but it does still do it sometimes.
Okay. Wow. So, in it, this has been an interesting discussion, and we're definitely going to have to take up part 2 of this one, because I want to. So tell me, Damon, that is sitting right here with me right now.
Mm-hmm.
Tell me about you right now.
I'm a reasonably happy individual. I believe contentment is a relative term, though.
Okay.
I believe I'm happy. I am happy with myself.
Yeah.
But I always believe I can go better.
Fair enough.
I have ambition, I guess you could say.
And
I'm content, but I have ambition.
And that's good. That's being a human.
Yeah.
I mean, in a healthy human, like we're never at the final place where we're supposed to be. We're always growing and learning and expanding.
I still have those days where I kick myself for my past. Everybody does.
Yeah,
It's just being human too.
Yeah.
But I get over them much more quickly. I say, well, that's what it was, and I just have to move on.
And then one, not last thing, but nearing the end, is to whatever doctor that said, and I'll tell you this, okay, somebody we sort of mutually know, I knew that component about you, but I didn't know that you weren't even supposed to be able to function as a member of society. Somebody told me that said, when you see Damon, he's an absolute miracle because he wasn't even supposed to be able to fit into society as we know it. And I'm like, what the heck do you mean? And they've been diagnosed, and his mental difficulties are such a struggle that the odds were against him even being able to get to this place. And so I would say, first, to hear nothing else. So everybody out there listening to this, okay, Damon is an unbelievably strong member of society, and he is working and helping people in this struggle and helps a lot of people every day in this journey. Okay, so what he does is absolutely incredible here. Very difficult job that he has every day.
It wears on you emotionally.
It does. Okay, so we know this. Okay, when we're done with this, the sound is irritating me to no end, but we're going to walk outside the door, and there's no telling what is going to come our way as far as mental health issues with the people that we serve. And Damon and the people that he work with, they are ground zero frontline of the lifeline for many people here
Yeah.
that have nothing. Okay, they have nothing as far as help in this. So what they do is nothing short of a miracle
We
here.
try to help the people that, no offense, I think the world has given up on partly.
Well, they have. Like, you know, and they've said in a non-professional way, hey, by the way, you're never going to be a functioning member of society again. Be done with your life and get out of our way. It's not true.
No, it's not. And, everybody is worth the bother, I guess you could say.
Fair. I like that sentence. Is that it? And if nothing else, okay, is Damon is living testimony right now to go, everybody is worth the bother.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. And out of this, and I do like what he says about, there's not one fix for it. Mental health
There's not one fix for anything.
That's it. There's not.
You have to take things from multiple points of view. I mean, one line of logic is fine. Yeah, for one person.
Mhm.
But we have millions of people out there. So you're going to have millions of lines of logic. That means you have to have not millions of approaches, but multiple approaches.
That's right. Yeah. It's not a one size fits all. Mental health is not. Unfortunately, pharmaceutical companies would say, yeah, they would disagree.
They would like to disagree.
Yeah, they would like to disagree.
I would like to disagree with some of the medicines I've taken too.
Agreed. And then there's no. Well, we won't go down that rabbit trail because I'll go way down. But in it, we're definitely going to come back to the discussion because we now have met Damon, and his perspective on mental health is, let's just say, unique. Okay, and very good. What he does here is amazing, and I am overjoyed that I know this Damon. I am so sad and hurt for the 5-year-old who realizes, I'm not like everybody else, and for the young kid who's like, wow, nobody talks to me this year. It's not easy, and then to try to get well and go to some doctor. Hey, by the way, Damon, I know you're young. You're only in your 20s. But by the way, your sentence is terminal. You will never fit into this world, and you'll never be any part of it, really.
Yeah.
What in the world? What in the world as far as reckless things to say to a human being? Okay, until you look at that and you go, ridiculous. And what I do appreciate is like Damon's awareness of where he is today, but the struggle that he fights for every day in these people, and that we look at, and I do appreciate that. So let me ask you this. This is the obligatory, really dumb question at the end when you talk about mental health and all of that stuff. So this is absolutely juvenile. What would you tell somebody right now who is struggling with mental health issues? They're sitting right now, they're going, maybe they don't have the same one as you, but man, they go, golly, I'm not sure I see the world the same way or feel the same things that everybody else in the world seems to feel. What would you tell them?
Take advice from people, but remember you're your own best expert.
Okay, and what does that mean?
It means listen to what people have to say to you.
Mm-hmm.
But at the same time, you know where you're at.
Yeah. And you have a voice.
Right.
And you are let me see, golly, I'm hearing voices in my head. Okay, I would argue the sentence, I'm arguing it with myself in it before I even say it, is that Jeff is the best advocate for Jeff, but I'm not sure I completely agree with that sentence because sometimes Jeff is the worst advocate for Jeff.
Well, we all are, but we know ourselves better than anybody else.
That's right.
We do. Even when we know we're going down the right path, even when we're going down the wrong path, sometimes we know we're going down the right path.
Oh, I've walked down plenty of paths. I'm like, I know this sucks.
Yeah.
But I'm gonna walk down it solid for sure.
But at the same time, it's our decision to make.
That's right.
I'm big on what's called self-determination.
Okay.
Which means you are free to make your own choices. As long as you're not hurting anybody, as long as you're not impeding everybody else's choices,
mm-hmm.
if you're not restricting somebody else in your choices, you are free to make those choices, however self-destructive they may be, sadly enough.
Okay.
I hope they're not self-destructive. I hope they're constructive. I really do.
Okay.
But you have the right to make your own choice.
That's a whole other podcast right there. That's it. You've got like 8, your sentences are extremely heavy sentences. Like
I do a lot of thinking.
You do. Like, so anybody out there who's listening to this, I mean this nicely, you would have to sit there and go, I'd go, Damon is supremely intelligent, highly, highly intelligent person. Your mind is very, very, very high functioning.
I try. I don't always see myself that way because I was called stupid a lot, but that's a whole nother story.
Right.
But
highly intelligent.
Yeah. I try to think of myself as reasonably intelligent anyway.
Okay. Well, I'm going to go on the record. You're highly intelligent. And your intellect is very deep. So I will say this, enjoyed our conversation. We got a little tiny glimpse of Damon, and we're going to go more in depth to look at that and to see, about the struggles that we see out in the people that we have here. We're going to look up and back and go, tell me, because we would agree that it's a difficult, the mental health in the world that we live in is a huge issue at hand. And it is affecting all over every cross-section of the population. So it is not limited to the rich, not limited to poor, it's not limited to color of skin, gender, anything. Mental health is a issue.
Universal thing.
It is. And it's one we're just now truly starting to become aware of its grasp and its power within the world. It was an unspoken taboo years ago, but no longer. It is now. We understand its weight. So, everybody out there, I do hope you found it intriguing. Like, if you just listened to anything, you'd have to be sitting there going, "Hey, man, oh, holy moly. I can't imagine any of this stuff functioning this way or that way," or to get a glimpse on realities are different for everybody out there. They're different. And so we would look at that and to be aware of that. And I hope you out there understand the reason, like, we'd look at this, like Damon, we said, you're of worth. And like, it's an amazing life that we have, that we're going through right now. And we would say to everybody that every person, they matter. There is nobody that is right offable. Okay. And so we don't agree with that philosophy that somebody, oh, by the way, you're just done with it.
Very true.
It's not. And so we would go, every person matters. And what we do is because they matter.
Right.
And so out of that, we would say the same thing to you. If you're listening to this, if you're able to have listened to this, you are really this crazy thing. It's called, you're a person and you matter.
Right.
Okay. And you matter. And on different sides. And we would go, to realize that the burden that comes with saying I matter, and that you might be asked to facilitate change and to help make the world a better place, you matter for that. And then also to realize in your insignificance of going, well, nobody talks to me, we're going to say that's a lie and you matter.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. And to hear that truth, and like that person who told Damon and said, oh, by the way, you're stupid, you don't matter. That's a lie. We want people to hear the truth, that they matter and that they are wonderful, wonderful creations, all differently woven together. Okay. And we would say by a God that loves us in ways that we can't even imagine. So out of that, enjoyed our discussion today. That was, I'll give you props. That is a new high water mark for me, to have the explanatory sentence of, what? What are you saying by that? I must have said that at a new high water mark of going, I don't even understand what you're saying. So appreciate it, Damon. Good having you. Good having you here, even more so than just our conversation here. Yeah, it was good. I enjoyed that. So everybody, I hope you have a great day, and we will talk to you all later.
Thank you for listening to this episode of the Collage Podcast, a production of Red Cord Media. For more information on this and other podcasts, please visit redcordmedia.org.